His heart beat. Like the sound of some very fast drumming. Bang! The salesman was off and running like two marathon runners running after the sound of the gun when you know it's all coming down to the drop of a dime. And it'll be done then. Over at the end of that finish line. The salesman's life was running out. And the devil had him secured on his route. He was picked, packaged, and ready for pricing. This salesman wasn't cutting any corners. He was slicing off both sides as he was running out of time. He knew it was coming. That very moment, he heard the devil's minions humming the tune from Jeopardy. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. No, stop, please! Why, God, are you picking on me? But it was too late to ask God why, you see. For the salesman had already forsaken when he said he didn't need God's help. And that was roughly the same day he sold his soul. For the secrets on the shelf, for success, material wealth, and instant gratification, this salesman at the time didn't realize the predicament he was facing. But now he wanted to confess. But nobody on the street corner would listen to his incoherent mess. So with sweat glistening, the salesman began missioning to get on the streetcar I was on, headed west. Going as fast as he could, but not as far as he needed. It was kind of hard to watch as he slowly conceded to insanity. He got on board handing out vibrators, mini vacuums, vanity mirrors. It couldn't have been any clearer if he wore see-through pants. This man was going to hell. He was giving away what he couldn't sell, and he was loonier than that old King Louis from France. He muttered these mumble-jumble discords of discarded speech. It was obvious by how lost he was, his destination he would shortly reach. He was hell-bent with handbasket, short fuse, and loose head gasket. This salesman had everybody on my streetcar so damn distracted, we all missed our stops. And as he began to cough, he sat down and he rocked and he prophesied about the softer sides of life that he forgot. Now, while he was rocking back and forth, I moved closer, and this is the part of the story I caught. You see, the truth is that Rufus, our salesman, was ruthless. But he wasn't really all that bad. He just had this penchant for always wanting those expensive things he never had. And despite the ailments of his aging mom and dad, Rufus spent all his bonus monies to keep up with the latest fads. Instead of getting his parents that in-home care they so sorely needed, Rufus thought it's probably a good time for me to move out and get my own pad. Now, this really pissed off his father and made his mom so sad with all this guilt and anger. Rufus thought he'd just be glad if they both died. And he wished for it. And a tiny demon spied. Now, there was no magic genie lamp involved, but the devil quickly replied with an offer of materialism that Rufus found damned impossible to deny. So for the price of success and his parents' death, Rufus became Lucifer's best buy. And God didn't even hear about it until she heard the archangel sigh and the tiny cherubs cry, because God wasn't messing with free will, and I don't know why. I saw it in some movie. I think it was Bruce Almighty. Anyways, for a little while, everything was all righty, hunky-dory. In fact, meeting him on the streetcar was probably pretty close to the end of the story. For several months, Rufus had been living the glory as the area's best door-to-door salesman. But when the devil came knocking on his parents' door to collect, there was no amount of money that could save them. So Rufus was racing home to pay them one last visit. Tell them he was sorry. If he could, he would take it all back. Now, I got a lot of faith. I believe in redemption. I still had a hard time swallowing all that. So I ended up going to his parents, Brutus and Ruth's funeral, and Rufus tried to sell me a hat. I turned around and bought this really expensive fitted cap. The death of a salesman's parents. Man, what an embarrassing trap. And when I think back, hindsight being 20/20 and all that, I guess maybe that day he was running to get on the streetcar I was on was all just some big act. But I guess only Rufus, Lucifer, and the Lord above know where his soul's at. In the meantime, he's the guy over by the merch table selling my CDs, so please, feel free, hit him up for a chat.